We're broadcasting from the Middle Tennessee Electric Studios. Visit MTE.com. Middle Tennessee Electric, serving to make life better since 1936.
Since 1936.
This is a WGNS Action Line. Talking with Rutherford County newsmakers
since 1947.
This is a WGNS Action Line. Now, your host, Scott Walker.
Justin Stefanski is with us today from the Agriculture Extension Service. And then you also brought a guest with you today as well.
I did.
She is going to be, what is she going to be doing on a regular basis?
So she's the new me. And I'm the new Mitchell Moat for your longtime listeners, so I've taken over the commercial horticulture side, and Bailey will be working on the consumer side, so homeowners and also the Master Gardener program.
So Bailey Snow, a.k.a. Justin Stefanski. That's
exactly right, and I don't know if she's proud of that or not. I'm really sorry.
I got some big shoes to fill.
Well, they're small shoes, but you know.
So what does this mean for the world of agriculture in Rutherford County?
We're happy because, we're almost fully staffed now, and Bailey brings a lot of good skills to the table. She's very personable. We're looking forward to having her, move into this role. And of course, Mitchell Moat had been in Rutherford County for years and years and years, so I have big shoes to fill. But we're very excited for the future.
And what types of things are like the biggest concerns among residents this time of year? I mean, what do they come to you asking or saying or
grass
trying to
and
figure
trees?
out?
Grass and trees, or trees and grass, you name it. A lot of tree calls this time of year because, they don't look great and people get concerned. We've had some wood-boring insect issues, the ash trees, emerald ash borer, but then grass, people are getting ready to sow their grass seed, renovate their lawns. And of course, it was hot and dry. So a lot of lawns this time of year, they're looking peaked, let's just put it that way. So a lot of grass and tree calls.
And of course, it hadn't rained a whole lot over the past few days, and it doesn't look like it's going to rain to what? Tomorrow night? No, Saturday or something.
I think Saturday there's a chance of rain, and I'm glad for it. But yeah, it's been, and typically, October is our driest month of the year from a statistical rainfall perspective, but it has been quite dry. The only advantage we've had this year from, let's say, last year is the temperatures have been pretty mild.
Yeah.
And last year it was still into the high 80s and 90s even in some October days last year. So thank God we've had decent mild weather. It actually feels like fall, which is nice.
It feels really good out there.
Yesterday was a little warm, but that's okay. I'll take 82 over 92.
Yeah. When I get up, it's like 50 out there.
Feels great.
So I put on a sweatshirt or something, and then by the end of the day, it's like
sweating.
85.
Yep.
But I like the colder temperature.
I like that mild temps. I saw next week there were some highs in the, low to mid 60s, and I'm looking forward to it because I'd like to keep that sweater on all day.
Yeah, that would be nice.
It would be very nice.
Yeah. We got a call at the station yesterday. This is totally off the subject, but this guy called in and he said that he saw this great big balloon in the air, like way, way up there.
Right.
And I was just assuming it's probably like some weather balloon or something.
Huh.
And anyway, so he said it looks like a North Korean type spy balloon. And
in Middle Tennessee?
In Middle Tennessee, yeah. I said, how high is it? I don't know, 40,000 feet. It's up there where the planes are. Okay.
Wow.
So, you can check online the flight radar to see what planes are in the area, and sure enough, it was a weather balloon.
No kidding.
Yeah, I don't. Do y'all get calls like that?
I've never gotten a call like that ever.
Well, we do.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So it was a weather balloon.
It was a weather balloon. Yeah.
I've never even considered that they would have been out here in Middle Tennessee.
Well, it was like at 59,000 feet or something.
So it's above commercial airline traffic.
Yeah, it was way up there.
And it just moves on its own from wherever it was released to wherever they
literally floats.
Who knows where it goes?
Yeah. I guess it was last night. It was over Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, wow.
So that tells you how fast those currents are.
Yeah,
way
absolutely.
But it's wild when we get calls like that. And
the fact that he knew and was able to guesstimate the altitude, that's pretty impressive.
It is. I just didn't know if y'all get calls like that too, because, that's kind of weather related. I don't know what weather balloons do.
I don't even know what they look like. What color are they? Who knows? A silver?
No clue.
The Roswell crash, they always say that there was a weather balloon or something like that. Yeah. It was silver, but I have no idea. Well, that's fascinating.
Some think they look like North Korean spy balloons.
No F-16s trailing it, though, this time.
No, that'd be a very slow trail. Going 4 knots per hour.
Maybe a Cessna 152,
that's right.
putzing around behind it. But, wow, that's fascinating.
But I don't really know what they report back. What are they recording while they're up there? And what useful information is
You
there?
asked me a question that I have no answers to.
I know. We brought up the weather and the way it feels good out there. And
Right. I'm not
jump into
really sure
that.
what. I know they have, tons of sensors on it, but yeah, I have no idea what their barometric pressure.
You got me. I'm going to send one up though. I'm going to
should.
get my own weather balloon.
I like it.
Send it up there. See how long I can keep it up there.
I think this is an excellent idea.
Yeah. So anyway, on a different note, you've got a lot coming up at the Agriculture
do.
Extension Service.
Yeah, I mean, we're always got something going on. So the big things that we have, we're going to have a winter market this year for our farmers market. Our new market manager, Hannah, she's phenomenal. And starting at, was it November 7th? Is that what you said, Bailey? November 7th, it's Fridays from 8 to noon. We'll have a winter market. And in this market, it will be particular crops that we grow in the fall and winter. So our leafy greens, broccoli, cabbage, onions, you name it, any of those cole crops. So beets, radishes, stuff that you typically don't see in the summer market because that's not the season for it. So I know the vendors that are going to participate are very excited that we're going to have this opportunity here because they don't have a lot of selling opportunities through the winter unless they do like a CSA subscription type thing. So that's very exciting. And then on Halloween, we're going to have a trunk or treat event over at the market. So that's Friday, 8 to noon. So bring your kids out. I guess if you have small kids.
Yeah.
If you want to take your kids out of school, by all means, feel free to do so. But, we've had great participation from families and children this year at the market. Hannah's been offering some, youth classes during market days. So it's been great.
I don't know about you, but when you grow up, there's certain vegetables you just don't like. You don't want to eat them. But then when you get older and try them again, some of them are pretty good.
Brussels sprouts for
That's
me.
what I was going to say. But my favorite now are Brussels
They're
sprouts.
so delicious. And I think it was the way they were prepared by our parents.
Yeah.
Boiled Brussels sprouts. And I'd probably eat them now with enough salt on them. But, as a kid, I remember my mom used to make them. And I thought, why would anybody eat this?
Yeah.
This isn't suitable food.
It's not. It wasn't good back then.
No.
They didn't coat it in butter or anything
it's
good
awful.
like that.
And
Yeah.
now they, we bake them, we pan fry, or whatever you do with them. I'm terrible at cooking. I'll just say it out loud. I hate it with a passion. I make scrambled eggs and omelets like nobody else, but anything else, don't ask me.
So are Brussels sprouts a winter?
They're a winter
type?
crop,
Okay.
yeah. So typically we can grow them in the fall if they're able to be protected through the winter and then into the spring. And occasionally you'll get some lingering, very early summer Brussels sprouts, but typically they're in the cool season.
So at this winter market, are they going to have things like locally grown Brussels sprouts?
Yeah, everything will be locally grown for sure, and I guarantee you there'll be Brussels sprouts there.
How do those grow? I never even thought about growing them, but
the plant looks like, when it first comes up, like a smaller cabbagey looking plant, and then it shoots up a stalk straight in the air, and then off of that stalk forms the actual sprout, which is the Brussels sprout. It's a very unique looking vegetable.
So are they hard to grow?
I don't think they're very hard to grow. It's just most people don't grow them because they don't realize that there's a whole nother gardening season.
Yeah.
I just think that they're underutilized. And a lot of those, those cool season crops are very easy to grow, like lettuces. Oh my goodness gracious. You sow some lettuce in a raised bed and you're eating salads for months.
Really?
I mean, it's the easiest thing. Carrots are the same way if you got soft soil in a raised bed. Broccoli, cauliflower can be a little more challenging, but for the most part, these winter season crops, you think about it, we have no disease pressure at that time. Think about the summertime, tomatoes, humidity, disease. There's less insect pressure. So in that regard, as long as you have a suitable growing site, there's a whole lot less potential issues that you're going to come against.
Now, what amazes me is when you look at the commercial side of farming, and you got some farmers out there who are growing enough Brussels sprouts to supply 10 Kroger stores.
Right.
I don't know how they do it. I mean, that's a big undertaking.
I've been out in these commercial operations. I've been on some trainings and in-services, and they grow it on a scale that is truly remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking hundreds, if not thousands of acres. I was out on a trip last summer to North Carolina up in the mountains, and it was a vegetable operation. And I think they said they had somewhere close to 1,000 or more acres of tomatoes.
Golly.
And can you imagine seeing 1,000 acres of tomatoes in the field?
No, I can't. It's wild
It's
to me.
unbelievable. And think about the labor involved.
Yeah.
Think about your garden at home if you have one, how much work it is just to grow 20 tomatoes or less, right?
Yeah.
And these people are growing, I can't even guesstimate how many they had, hundreds of thousands of tomato plants out in the field. And that's a lot of work.
And there's got to be decent money in it if you are properly growing everything.
I think it's a volume business,
Yeah.
and they're wholesaling to the big, Walmart, Sam's Clubs, places like that. They're growing it on scale that they can, sell it to those big distributors.
I was watching some show last night, and this commercial, I think fruits and vegetables is what he and his brother grew up growing, and their business was worth about $10 million, and they sold it. And I don't know if it was just, the cost of the land alone, because you're talking, I'm sure, thousands of acres for that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
But the equipment involved in production, I mean,
none of that stuff is cheap.
No, it's not.
And that's like that in any type of agriculture. You even look at our row crop farmers, a new tractor and a combine, you're looking at $1 million right there.
Yeah.
These things are not cheap. I always tell people, farmers, they have the hardest job on earth because they can do everything right and still fail. And they have huge investments in everything they do. They're putting money in, they're praying for rain and good weather. They could do everything exactly right, but you just can't control nature. So it's a lot of money and a lot of risk.
Now, how high tech are some of these tractors these days? Because I see things like they've got digital readouts inside and
GPS
all that stuff.
trackers. They can stay on a course and you can plot out. I mean, they're as complex as the moon. The little, whatever they called it, the little buggies on the moon. Or way more complex. That's a terrible analogy, but yeah, I mean, it's unreal. These new tractors have so much tech involved. And I'll tell you this: farmers are the smartest people on earth. They truly are. They get overlooked so many times, but they're so their ingenuity is phenomenal, and just to know how to work that equipment. Yeah. And I was thinking about it this morning on my way here. Ironically enough, I was like, farming. If you just decide I'm going to be a farmer, me and Bailey will get this call. People will call us and say, I'd like to grow X, Y, or Z. And a lot of times they don't know. Farming is one of these things where it almost has to be in your blood. Yeah. That is a generational knowledge that gets passed down. I know a lot of people that are in that business, and their daddies taught them, their daddies taught them. I mean, it really is one of these things where it just gets passed down from generation to generation. And now with the new technology, it's not like you just go out there and plow the field and plant some seeds. I mean, it is truly a high-tech industry for sure.
So you've got some folks who they'll move to Tennessee first time, and they'll say, look, I bought 30 acres.
No, they buy 3 acres or less and say they want to be a farmer.
They buy 3 acres and want to be a farmer.
That's exactly what I see a lot, and Bailey can back me up on that. 1 acre. Yeah. I'd like to be a farmer. Well, I don't know what to tell them at that point. I call it the proverbial needle. I have to pop their bubble. Yeah. And I do it in the nicest possible way and just give them realities. And, of course, they live somewhere where there's probably nothing but rocks and dust.
That's the other problem, yeah.
And they want to have a full farming operation with livestock and crops. And I said, you can have a garden and you can have some chickens. And that is, if that's what you want to call farming, then that's what we'll call it.
Do some people go all in and they buy some huge tractor as well?
Occasionally, yes. They make big investments on the front end without any idea of how to use it or what they're going to use it for. I see this time and time again. And if they'd only call us, on the front end.
I can't imagine how much some people would spend then.
It's astronomical. I've come across a lot of people that have more money than common sense.
And they would tell that, famous wife story. Don't worry, honey, it'll pay for itself. Of course.
And they're now living in separate homes.
Yeah. Because I don't know. Gosh, I don't know how you would just afford to get into farming these days. I mean, on a big level, it's just
the
outrageous.
cost of land alone.
Yeah.
If you move here from California and you've got a bunch of cash, maybe that's one thing. But the land itself is just so prohibitive cost-wise to even getting into a farming operation.
And I guess that's why we don't see a lot of new farms too, because the cost of land.
Absolutely, yeah. The amount of farms we're losing is staggering. We're losing them every day.
Is it routine for you to hear about farmers who say, I'm hanging it up. Some developer asked me about buying my property, and I just saw this as an opportunity to retire?
Unfortunately, yes. And we see as the farmers age, they sell off pieces of their land. And, the kids, a lot of times, they're not farmers anymore. They moved into town and they work a day job and they don't necessarily have the time to do the farming anymore. Yeah. So it is one of those things where we do see it quite often. And I know I live out in Rockville and have lived there on and off since I was a kid, and used to be nothing but corn, cotton, and soybeans all the way down Highway 99. And all we're growing there now is houses. So it's. And
it's wild, but because out there in places like Rockville, I mean, it really has changed. I mean, over the last 10 years alone,
10
it's
years.
changed.
I've lived out there 8 years. We bought our house 8 years ago, and just in that 8 years, it's just unreal. I remember when they built, it's a shell now, but it was called WT's gas station out on Highway 99, and I remember we all complained that interrupted the amount of stargazing we could do, that one gas station. And I think back to that now, and I think, oh, little did we know what was to come,
Yeah.
you know?
And now there's massive schools out there.
it's
I mean, there's
unbelievable.
just all kinds
It's
of things.
unreal, yeah.
And every time a new school is built, it comes a new neighborhood.
Absolutely, and that's happened in Rockville for sure.
Yeah. What about areas like Marshall County and Bedford County? Are there still a lot of farms and farming going on there?
There's a lot of, cattle operations, some, row crop operations, but even those areas now are becoming more urbanized. Especially Marshall County. I drive through there occasionally, and it's unbelievable how many new developments are being built around Chapel Hill even. And those are now bedroom communities for Nashville because people can't afford to live in Davidson or Williamson or Rutherford. So even those counties now are losing farmland. But there are still, and even in our county, there are still some big farm operations, but certainly out in our surrounding counties.
Yeah, the way Marshall County is almost, stacked between Rutherford County and Williamson County, that whole area, I could see where that's easily going to go up in price.
Right. And you look even at like Maury County now, Columbia, Spring Hill area.
Yeah.
I mean, that used to be farmland, and now it is just unbelievable on Highway 31, Saturn Parkway there, the amount of development. It's just staggering.
It's crazy. Have you ever accidentally gotten off of that exit at night, because it's not very well lit at night?
No.
It's kind of creepy looking.
It is
that old
creepy.
Saturn plant?
Oh, yeah, it is. We have actually a research facility that's across the road from the new battery plant there. And, I've been through there many times, and cops like to sit there, too. Just word to the wise. I've been pulled over there several times.
Now, that battery plant, that thing's
Unreal.
pretty big, too.
It's huge. Yeah, and our farm, we have our Middle Tennessee Research and Education, sits directly across the road from that.
Yeah.
And there's a funny story. I guess they had a colony of bees that had swarmed, and there was a bee swarm somewhere in the rafters when they were building it. And lo and behold, they went across the road and said, "Hey, can you guys help us?" And so I think it's a good relationship, but it certainly has changed the scenery out there a lot.
It has. I mean, really, I guess when Saturn first built out there, that's when everything really changed, big time.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, that was a rural nowhere community, and then it became, just a suburban. Houses for workers.
And we're seeing more and more of that, and fewer century farms. I mean, those are almost, well, I won't say non-existent, but they're dwindling.
They're out there, but you have to look for them.
Yeah.
You'll see the sign on the fence post, and boy, we're proud of them. Those folks we're so glad that they've made that decision to keep those farms in the family. And there are some land trusts out there that they help preserve that land, but we're the century farms. They're few and far between, but we treasure each and every one of them.
So with those land trusts in place, I mean, are most of those written to where they can never be developed, or how do you see them?
They are. They're written where that has to stay in some agricultural usage in some cases, or it has to remain, basically untouched. But I don't know all the ins and outs of it. But basically, it's to preserve the land and not allow it to be sold. Basically.
I'll be happy to take, if somebody wants to put me in a trust like that, I'll take it.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah,
I meet these people all the time. Oh, Daddy had 500 acres and I got 200 of it. What is that like?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know.
And where's the other 300?
Yeah. That would be great.
But that would be cool. Now, speaking of farming and all of that, are you seeing more and more people try their hand at gardens and gardening?
We have, big time. The word now is homesteading. That's kind of the buzzword, where people would like to have more, their own produce. They'd like to have chickens or goats, and they're trying to do more things like their grandparents did it, basically. Yeah. But we see this trend even in the urban areas in town. You see raised bed gardens, you see small garden plots, and even in neighborhoods, there's chickens. I bet you drive through any neighborhood right now in this city, you're going to hear a rooster at some point in the morning.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
And
whether
sometimes
they're allowed to have them or not, they might have them.
It doesn't fit in usually, but it's it's something that people do.
People are interested in. I can't blame them. They want to know where their food's coming from, or they want to teach their kids about agriculture. I think it's phenomenal,
And then every once in a while, you'll come across a sign in your front yard that says something about farm fresh eggs.
Fresh eggs, right? Fresh produce, and it's encouraging. I like to see that.
How long do those eggs stay good? I'm just curious, really.
So if you don't wash the egg, if you take it directly out of the what am I looking for? Where do chickens lay eggs? The coop.
Okay.
Take it out of the coop. Wow, that was difficult. And you do not wash it with water. It will store at room temperature, sometimes for months.
Really?
I don't recommend it. I'm not going to push my luck, but
I don't want it.
That basically that egg has a natural coating on it, and it kind of preserves the moisture inside the egg. Now, once you wash it, it takes away that natural coating, and then that egg can spoil quicker. But they can preserve for months on end. Yeah.
Now, the eggs that you buy at some big box retail store,
Right.
how are those different? I mean, because I see them and they look pretty much the same as every other egg. So what?
In terms of them being different from an egg perspective, they're going to have a lighter color most of the time because of the way the chickens are raised. You think about a farm chicken that's out there grazing on bugs and seeds.
Yeah.
That yolk is rich yellow. I mean, they're getting more high, rich, fatty foods versus our industrial scale. Egg layers they're in big, giant, egg laying barns basically, and they're being fed like a processed food or corn or grain. So they're not getting the diversity in their diet. The eggs themselves are the same, and the chicken breeds are similar, but the quality of the yolk, I can't say that one is better than the other, but I certainly would prefer a farm fresh egg. Almost the yolks are orange in color.
Really?
We have chickens at the house, and when they used to give us eggs, now they give me nothing but grief. They've stopped laying. But, those eggs, you side-by-side comparison, it was almost pale white to just dark, rich orange. So they taste better.
So there's a big difference there.
Absolutely. You can see it.
And, a lot of the times you can buy those farm fresh eggs for they're fairly inexpensive if you buy them from individuals.
Yep, absolutely. They're out there. If you look enough, like you said, there are signs on the road, and you can, meet somebody with chickens or get your own chickens.
Yeah, right here in Rutherford County.
Absolutely.
Do you have a lot of people who come there to the Ag Center and they say, I want to try my hand at, having chickens for the first time?
A lot of times, yes.
Is that a difficult task?
It is and isn't. I think if you've got space for them and protection, I think that's the biggest issue we see is predation. Pretty much anything that has 4 legs or flies in the air wants to eat a chicken.
Yeah.
Including domestic dogs. It's happened to us. So, as long as you've got an area where they are protected somewhat in terms of the day-to-day upkeep of a chicken, it's not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Water, food, shelter, but it's not difficult. So if I can do it, I promise you, I'm a horticulturalist. If I can keep chickens alive, anybody can do it.
Do you have to worry about snakes attacking the chickens?
Yep, snakes as well. Yeah, I should have added that. Anything that slithers on the ground, has 4 legs, or flies in the air wants to eat a chicken. Now, guineas are another story. Guineas are loud and obnoxious, and everything wants to eat a guinea, even more so than a chicken. So,
I never thought about owning my own guinea, but
they're nasty little things. They're aggressive and they're loud and cranky, and they are. My neighbors had guineas, and then immediately they didn't have guineas because they were all gone.
It's something I noticed that a lot of people have problems with are mice and rats. I guess it's because we're building in these fields and everything.
Shooing them off their property.
Yeah.
You want to hear a crazy story? I was outside one day. There was a chicken of ours, a Rhode Island Red, and I saw something dangling out of its mouth. It was moving. I'm like, what on earth does that chicken had? She had a field mouse by the tail, flipped it up in the air like a dinosaur and swallowed it whole. I come in to tell my wife. She's like, there's no way you saw that. I said, no, I really did.
Yeah.
She was out there like 2 weeks later, and she says, I don't believe it. I saw a chicken eat a mouse live. And I said, there you go.
I've never heard of that.
They're little dinosaurs.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I never thought that would happen.
Never. I know. They're little predators.
That's kind of wild.
It is.
Man. All right, well, let's take a short break, and then we'll come right back. And again, we'll talk more about the Trunk or Treat event that's coming up, and that's going to be on actual Halloween.
Halloween, yes, sir.
All right. We do have more coming up in just a second.
The Action Line on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Sharing Change has donated now over $12 million to local nonprofits. Find out how your spare change can make a big impact at sharingchange.org.
That brisket came from your cow, right?
Yep, raised her, named her, thanked her, and now she's dinner.
Rutherford County Farmers Market. There's something fresh every week. Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 to 1 at Lane Agro Park in Murfreesboro on John R. Rice Boulevard.
This is Peter Demas, and our family is inviting your family to come eat with us at Demas's restaurant. When Kristen said, okay, when we're going to do the remodel, because we're celebrating 35 years, we also wanted to make it more open and inviting, so we made the lobby a lot more open. Booth seats a little bit different colors to kind of still keep it a little up to date, make it fresh. We wanted to make it cozier, make it a little bit brighter for people to see, to pay homage to where we have been the entire time. Demas's Restaurant on Northwest Broad Street.
Hi Murfreesboro, this is Amanda from Animal City. We're at 919 Northwest Broad Street. If you prefer puffy cheeks and cute little whiskers, come check out all of our pocket pets such as hamsters, gerbils, mice, and rats. Here at Animal City, we have a great small animal selection downstairs and all of the supplies to keep them healthy and happy. This is Amanda from Animal City. We are so proud to be Murfreesboro's pet destination for 35 years. Animal City, 919 Northwest Broad Street, family owned and operated.
You've got 1 minute to make a difference, and Rocky the Raccoon's got the know-how.
Rocky's going digital today, folks.
He's smart. This is the Recycled Minute, powered by RecycleRightTN.com.
You know those old phones you've got sitting in drawers that you don't know what to do with? Maybe cords or gadgets containing metals that could actually be reused. Drop them off at any electronics recycler or city collection event. Don't just throw them away to be sent to the landfill. And don't throw them in the wrong recycling box either. For electronic recycling drop-off locations, visit RecycleRightTN.com. And closing it out, another great tune.
Got old paint, you don't know what to do. Don't pour it down the drain. Ooh, Rocky the Raccoon knows just what's right. Check the website, keep it clean, keep it bright. RecycleRightTN.com.
Hi, this is Tina Fox at the Rutherford Farmers Co-op. Please come see us for all your fall gardening and home needs. We have everything you need to make that yard look beautiful, whether it be grass seed, fertilizer, or anything to decorate that yard. We have everything you need to make your lawn beautiful. The Co-op Farm and Home Center is located at 985 Middle Tennessee Boulevard, just off of South Church. Weekend shoppers were open from 7 to 2 on Saturdays. And remember, you don't have to be a member to shop with us.
The Action Line on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
And again with us today from the Agriculture Extension Service, we have Justin Stefanski and also Bailey Snow. We were talking about rats and mice during that last break. I'm sure I'm not the only one that gets mice on occasion in my garage.
You're not the only one. I was telling you on the break, I had roof rats, and most people are like, what is a roof rat? It is exactly what the name implies, and it's a big rat. I mean, they're as big as a squirrel, and we had a infestation, let's just put it that way, of roof rats. It was probably 4 years ago, and they're big and nasty and gross, and yeah, it was not pleasant.
See, I never heard of that, a roof rat.
You'd be lucky. You should be glad you never heard of them. I hope you never do.
And I've heard stories about people getting squirrels and stuff in their attic.
Yeah, it happens all the time. And you know, we have flying squirrels here.
We really do?
We really do. I have tons of them that come to my bird feeders at night, and I've heard of people having flying squirrel nests in their attic as well.
You were holding your arm out as you said. I didn't know if you had like a tattoo of a flying squirrel.
No,
That's how dedicated you are to the flying squirrels out there.
I was sitting out there one night. It was actually during lockdown, and I was sitting on my deck. It was probably right at dusk, and I just heard this noise. It's like, what on earth was that? And I heard another one. And these flying squirrels were coming out of the oak trees to land on another tree where the bird feeder was. And I looked, and I thought, I cannot believe this. Somebody's sugar glider got out. And there was like 10 of them. I'm like, there's no way. And I looked it up, and there's a southern flying squirrel that we have here. It's about the size of the palm of your hand.
How far can they actually glide or
30,
fly?
40, 50 feet.
Really?
They were coming out of oak trees that were 70 feet in the air, and they'd glide all the way down to the bird feeder. It was unbelievable.
That'd be cool to have that ability, you know.
Oh, man.
Be jumping out of all kinds of stuff.
Well, I got enough arm fat here. I'm getting there. A few more years, I might be able to glide out of a tree.
You know what is always interesting, depending on the time of year, I've noticed, I've got a friend who's got a pool, and at night they have bats just come down and dive right into the pool, you know, just get a drink of water and then go back up.
I've never heard of that, but I know we have a lot of bats at home. They're great at eating mosquitoes.
Yeah.
They can devour, I think, thousands of mosquitoes. Same thing with possums and ticks. Not to change the topic.
Possums eat ticks?
Oh, yeah. They love to eat ticks. So if you have a possum, now possums will also eat chickens. I speak from experience. It's happened twice. But they eat ticks, so they're good to have around.
That's interesting. No, Bailey was going to update us on the exciting trunk or treat coming up. You got more details on that.
Yeah, so coming up on October 31st, we're going to have our regular market times, but instead of having just regular market, we're going to add a little fun to it. Vendors have been encouraged to give out a trick or a treat to kids who come up and ask. What that trick may be some produce that they have, like instead of getting candy, you might get a cherry tomato or a snap pea or something like that. Something that wouldn't be considered a treat to kids. Yeah. But
there's always a house in my neighborhood growing up, they gave apples away.
Yes. There's always that one jerk.
I always wanted to avoid that house at all costs.
Marked it on the list, don't go back.
But that's expensive for some people.
Yeah.
I get maybe in the 80s it wasn't as expensive as it is today. But
well, now you've got the homesteaders that are growing them, so they're ready for it.
No, they don't get any, so they'd never.
Well, that's true.
or they're growing potato. Here's a potato for you.
Yeah.
Take it on home. Yeah, that's not fun for kids, is it?
No.
But that's a good trick.
Yeah.
So when you show up, kids should bring their Halloween bag and all that stuff.
If they show up, if you want to dress up, they're not going to turn you away or anything. Just something fun to do during the day. Especially if you have younger kids, it's a great opportunity to come out, see what we have on property, get involved with some of our vendors because they do have great produce, and where we're kind of shifting through the season, it's great to see some new stuff coming out. And I think they're also going to be playing a movie on the other side of the market. I can't remember which one. I think it's Charlie Brown's Great Pumpkin. Not sure.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That would be a good one for the kids to watch. These days, you have a lot more homeschoolers than ever before, it seems like. Do you have a lot of kids who come to the market on a regular basis with their parents?
Yes, especially on Tuesdays. Hannah's done a great job of reaching our toddler age range. They'll do Ag Ventures on Tuesday, and every time since she started, they've learned about something different. So one day it was tomatoes. Last week it was supposed to be pigs. I think this week it was going to be like water systems or something like that, but they're learning something different in agriculture every week. She's bringing people in to talk. She's getting them involved in what they could be interested in the future.
I love the questions that little kids ask.
Yes.
If y'all could record that and throw it on YouTube once a week, that would be awesome.
We'll have to get a little Dropbox for kids. What questions do you have?
It would be hilarious though, because kids ask just the craziest questions.
They're ridiculous little creatures. I have one.
I don't know how they do it,
Yeah.
Those kids these days.
They're nuts.
Mm-hmm.
If you could have put the word out ahead of time, all right, here's the costume that everybody's encouraged to wear, dress as a farmer. I wonder how the kids would interpret that.
Right.
That would be interesting. We should have like a farmer competition.
That would be good.
Who dresses the best?
Yeah. And like you said, what would they dress like?
Yeah.
Straw hat, overalls,
Yeah, just let them interpret,
Old MacDonald.
As a farmer, period. Yeah. Old MacDonald, the song.
Yeah.
That it's been a while
since it plays
since
in my house every day.
Does it really?
Be glad it's been a while since you've heard it.
Yeah, it's been a while since I had little kids. Thank goodness.
I'm going to miss it. I know one day. I'm sitting here complaining. I'll be like, oh, remember the days when Old MacDonald would just permeate my brain.
It's when you have grandkids that it's actually fun to have kids. It's like your own kids. They're not that much fun. But when they have kids of their own, then it gets fun. I don't know why that is the case, but...
Because you get to send them home.
That's right. That's it.
Get out of my house.
We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
I'm going to give you all this candy and send you back.
And that's what you're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
Right? What about candy apples? Do you hear about people making those a lot these days?
I think the only place I've heard locally that makes them is Andy's. I don't know of anybody else.
I didn't even know they had them.
Yeah, they do their seasonal stuff, and they're okay, but sometimes you'll get a bad apple.
The frozen custard Andy's?
Yeah.
I would have never, I want a candied apple.
Andy's is right up the road from my house.
You're a regular.
I'm a regular. They know me when I pull in.
The caramel apples are my favorite, though.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because the candy coating, I didn't like that hard surface. I wanted the caramel. That's what I would like to find more of.
It's worth diabetes to eat a caramel
It
apple.
is. Yeah. But if you have accidentally put a bad apple in there, because I don't know. What do you need to look for when you're picking the apple to make caramel apples or candy apples?
I don't think there's any real difference in the apple. They do like tartar varieties, though. So something that has a little more tartness to it. So the varieties will be a little different. Now, don't ask me which ones they grow because I couldn't tell. I can make up an answer, but I don't know exactly which variety. But typically the sweet and the sour go really well together.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they'll use green apples, maybe that are just underripe. But
I wouldn't know how to make the candy apple version. The caramel apples are pretty easy, but what do you do for that candy coating?
Oh, I think it's just like sugar, melted cinnamon sugar, and it creates like a casing, and you kind of dip it in.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's been a while, but that would be my assumption. And when you're buying apples, you can actually test them to see if they're bad or not. If they float in water, they're good. If they sink, they're bad.
You know, I always ask this question when people start talking about Halloween events and stuff. Are you going to have the old-fashioned, what is it called, where you have to dip your whole face into the water? Bobbing for apples.
It's horrifying, isn't it? We used to have a fall festival at Rockville Elementary every year when I was a kid, and I just never did it. It was like, oh, come on, do it. I'm like, no way. I'm not going to do it because it's disgusting.
It is. But why didn't everybody else see it as disgusting?
I have no idea.
Then when we were kids.
I know.
Because germs weren't a thing. We drank out of the water hose and it was fine.
How are any of us alive right now?
I don't know.
We're not normal, that's for sure, but we're here.
Because of the bobbing for apples. Yeah, but can you imagine bringing that out today? All right, guest, here's what we're going to do.
Stick your face in here, and then we're going to have every other kid stick their face in here, and open your mouth while you're at it.
There's teeth marks on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who came up with that idea.
Awful.
But looking back, it's probably not the best. So caramel apples, candy apples, so those are, I guess, typical things people are making this time of year.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Again, you're talking to a guy who makes scrambled eggs is my specialty, so
pies, maybe.
Pies.
That's good too.
Yeah.
So as we close this morning, the farmers market, you're going to have a winter market. And then, of course, Halloween, that's when everybody needs to show up with their kids for the trunk or treat.
Yes, sir.
And that's going to be what time to what time?
8 to noon.
8 to noon, okay. And how many farmers do you have set up out there usually?
I'd say any given, Friday we'll have more, probably close to 40 or 50 vendors. And it fluctuates through the season. We have some one-day vendors. They'll just come in for the day and sell breads or baked goods and things like that. But we probably average anywhere throughout the season 30 to 50 vendors.
Man.
It's impressive.
And sometimes, I guess a lot of times, you got stuff like pork, beef.
Yep, we do have some, some livestock folks, some meat producers, and you can order a whole cow if you want to.
Really?
It's a lot of cow. It's a lot of meat.
Hey, it's enough for the whole year pretty much, if not longer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, do you taste a difference with like locally raised beef versus buying it at a grocery store?
It depends on how they raise it. Like grass-fed is one of these terms we hear now versus grain-fed, and there's certainly a difference in the two tastes. Grass-fed will be a little less fatty, and it will have more of a lean type flavor to it versus a traditionally produced cow. But I don't know if I could tell you, hey, that one was reared in Rutherford County and that one was reared in Kansas. I don't know if I'm not good enough to tell.
Is it not the fat though that kind of gives it that extra flavor?
The fat is everything. But some people, grass-fed is more of a natural. It's just what cows did.
Yeah.
People like that.
When you go to other countries, the cows that you see people raising, they look different. I mean, the way, I guess depending on what country, but they're not as beefy. They're not as big, as broad. They're smaller usually.
I was in Ireland back in April, and the cows were tiny and hairy. It's just their breed of cattle. But, Ireland's known for butter. They have such a rich milk content. And there was some cow there in County Kerry. They are rarer than pandas, was I was told by everybody.
Yeah.
And there's an ice cream shop in this one town, and the ice cream is made from the milk from these cows who are rarer than pandas. And I'm here to tell you, that was the best ice cream I've ever had.
Really?
Because it apparently is just super rich in their fat content in the milk. It was delicious.
So that makes me wonder, what about ice cream made out of like goat milk? I mean, is that
Never
a
heard
thing?
of it.
I haven't either.
Never heard of it.
I may open an ice cream shop for
there you go.
Goat milk ice cream.
You found your niche.
That really could be it. That's what I'm doing.
I like it.
I'm glad y'all were able to fulfill that for me today.
I'm glad we were here to do it for you.
And if anybody has any questions about anything happening at the farmers market, there's a calendar on the website.
Yes, and a newsletter. Sign up for our monthly newsletter. It goes out once a month. Email blast tells you everything that's going on with our office. Rutherford.tennessee.edu. Newsletter tab at the top.
Easy enough. And again, folks need to come out to the farmers market. And next one coming up is tomorrow.
Tomorrow. You got it. 8 to noon.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Stay with us. We do have more news coming your way next.
The Action Line on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.